You have that permit?
We were, yeah, they issued one. Kyle's
No.
got it. Bonnie, was there one issue?
There was one issue, what he's asking, do you have it in your hands?
I can
Because
get it.
actually, it's the homeowner that should have been the one to apply. So actually, there's not been one turned in by you.
But we were, my builder
But
was
you used your
presented.
builder to do it,
I mean,
right?
I didn't know the homeowner had to go get a building permit. Usually the home builder that's building the house for you does. I mean,
Yep.
that's what I'm pretty sure that most people that are building the house don't, the homeowner don't go pull the building permit, the home builder.
I don't know how to tell you more plainly. The ordinance needs to be complied with, and
I understand
the
that, but-
application does. And Mr. McCullough has been told that, and there has not been an appropriate application.
Our problem is this should have been taken care of a month or so ago. We were issued the permit. At that time, if somebody would've called me, or we'd have had a problem, we would've took care of it. But we weren't aware of it until last week, whenever we got a stop building letter. I mean, when you're building a house, that's pretty serious.
Right. So where do we go from here? I mean, Mr. McCullough just needs to come in and do what he's supposed to do, or what? Is that,
I mean, is it normal for the builder to do this, or is it normal for the homeowner to do this?
We've had it done both ways and accepted it both ways.
And I just want everybody to know that we were issued a permit. That's the reason we started building. I'm sorry if it wasn't correct, but we were. That's our problem.
And what he explained, and has explained several times, is, to Mr. McCullough, is that if he signed it, he's saying, I have done all these things. Even though how it was handed out on our end, when Mr. McCullough signed it, he is saying, I've done all this. And when we went to look at it, it wasn't.
We were just issued a permit. We'll do the steps that needs to be done. We need to start building.
I'll be glad to help you get started. I'm not the expert, but I will try to do my best, because he has guided me how to handle it with Mr. McCullough. So, the sooner the better for you all probably.
well, we just wanna get you, I wanna get your house built. That's
Why
what
didn't
we-
Jerry come?
I don't know.
We offered
He was
it.
invited.
We offered it.
That's why I showed up, is because we're starting to get pretty nervous. I'm thinking maybe I should have rethought building in the city.
Exactly,
I mean,
especially 2 months early.
I didn't realize that you could get issued a permit and then all of a sudden it get yanked back away. Very upsetting. And we're out a lot of money so far. I mean, it's not something we can stop.
Well, we need to do what it's gonna take to get your house built. That's what we need to do.
And I'll do what you guys do. I'll do what he's asking. I mean,
Okay, well, I suppose then the best thing,
With the
then,
exception of protecting the city.
Well, there's ultimately gonna have to be some resolution concerning the street issue, but that's not necessarily for today.
I mean, it sounds to me like it's the last house built. That's when you guys will have to do the resolution on the street building.
I
Well,
think there'll have to be an agreement made with Jerry, but
Mr. McCullough owns all the other lots.
7 of them.
so it's actually the street issue. Their house could be built without the street being accepted, because I know that on the subdivision ordinance, it says, we do not accept a street until it's built to code.
So you'll have, I mean, you guys would have to make him bring the street up once the last house was built.
Because that's what that's what the subdivision ordinance says, and I told him when I read that, this could be a problem if he's doesn't wanna do that.
And I think
The
if
ordinance
he
also says
sells all the
so
lots,
that
I'm sure.
a residence built is supposed to have access to a public street. So then you get into an issue, does
It's a private,
Farm
it'll be a
Road.
private street until you guys accept it. I mean,
Well-
that's how it is right now, is what you're saying.
the ordinance has the caveat that the residence is supposed to connect directly to a public street. But I'm not saying that that could not be waived or varied if it's determined that that's gonna be a private street.
That's not in my hands. I mean, that's gonna be between,
You
I
see
don't
where
know.
we don't have trust in the city to make that happen.
What in the city, The applicant, the developer of the subdivision has to request certain things if they're gonna request a variance. Like when this subdivision was originally approved by the city, the developer at the time, Mr. Burton, sought a variance from the city council, and so in '03, this is an old ordinance about street standards and rock and depth and the amount of asphalt. Well, he asked to vary. I don't wanna put curbs and gutters, I just want ditches and I wanna put in an asphalt street. He originally wanted to put in a chip and seal, and the city said no. But the city waived its street requirement with regard to curbs and gutters. And so the original developer was supposed to put in so many inches of rock base and so many inches of asphalt, didn't have to put in curbs and gutters. But the city never varied,
So the city.
that I can see, that you had to put some sort of street in. What's out there is probably a couple of inches of asphalt on an unknown quantity of rock.
Okay, I guess my question is, what is the city's liability? Let's say Mr. McCullough bills, what is our liability? Where can we get in trouble with this, and what's it gonna cost us if we do?
Well, I don't know, the city is gonna get in trouble, I mean, we've told we've told the property owner, you know, stop building until you comply with our building ordinance and submit an appropriate application. That doesn't resolve the street issue, but it would resolve if you wanna go ahead and build.
So what you're saying.
But
back
you,
in-
but I think you gotta realize, you as a homeowner may never get an accepted public street in the Garden City, that may or may not concern you.
But if Kyle Burton came to the city in 2007 and you guys made a variance for him,
He came in 2003.
3 or whatever,
Yeah.
that's meaning that the city did accept that plan at that time.
No, we
No.
accepted the variance, cause I was the one that.
A variance for curbs.
For the curbs.
And
We just took
gutters.
the curbs. And it was noted in David Larkham's letter that that street was not approved for acceptance until it was brought to code.
It says, city standards is the word used, exactly.
So normally what happened in that process, like I explained before, is the street, that was the last bit of approval of any subdivision because of the traffic that we
So
had
is
to
that
go
still in
through.
effect now?
The 2003?
Yeah, he has to present that street back to us. Now, if he presents that street back to us and we tell him, Jerry, you have to do X, Y, Z, and he says, oh, hell no, I'm not doing it, well, guess what? That street don't get approved till Jerry does that, and that's per the ordinance. Now, it was the same when he had a subdivision over here at Pioneer. We had a bunch of potholes that the trucks had made, they tore up the street. There was a little bit of argument with Jerry. I was on the council at the time. I met with him over there, I chalked it in yellow, I said, this is what you gotta do, it has to come up, it has to come out. Eventually, yes, he did do it because he didn't wanna be removing snow from that street and having the neighborhood people draw a lawsuit against him. So yes, he did fix the street to our specifications and we accepted it back into the city.
So this is not, it's not so much about, not allowing Mr. McCullough to build, but it's, I know this is a terrible thing to say right now, because I know where you guys are coming from. If I were you, I would be upset also, no problem with that. But you wanna be protected. You want streets out there. You wanna make sure that your house is built well and you don't have any problems. And that's, all he needs to do is come in and do, because he told me he'd done it. He told me he'd done it. Then I found out he hadn't done it, so.
I think he's done a little bit on a few things they've asked, but he's not went overboard on what he's done.
Does it have to be Jerry McCullough and Jerry come in
I mean, I'll do it if we need to do it.
Yeah.
Anybody can do
I think if you encourage him,
Take the
because
matter in your
you're,
own hands and do it, and the way it gets done.
you know, it's your house.
He says he has it all, so it sounds like it's pretty simple. He has told us over and over and over, hasn't provided it, but he's told us over and over and over, I have it all.
Well, we don't have I know we don't have the septic plans, 'cause
Okay,
The
there you go.
survey,
But
He
I
told us
need
he
a
had it all.
I'm gonna need a permit before I go spending the money to get a septic system plan and
Right,
start.
cause you have to have, it says on the, one of the things, you have to have a potty pond or a septic plan.
Are we gonna issue a building?
That's-
I won't accept, I mean, I myself can't accept it. I would call for council. Would we accept that without that? I'm assuming we shouldn't without that you've gotta guide me.
I mean, I'm gonna get one, there's
Is
no
that
doubt
it?
about it, you got to in Cass County.
Well,
That's
but
the
see, he's
perk
gonna
test
have to
thing.
have, well, I'm not getting into it, but he's gotta have a lot for you to even
But
get
see, there's
that.
been no percolation test.
We're in the process, we
Well,
shut it
and
down
that,
because we
that
got shut
doesn't,
down.
that doesn't stop you, he repeated, it does not stop you from doing the perk, am I
I mean, we
correct?
have to have all that for Cass County, I mean, that's out of the
Right.
city's hands there,
Okay.
that's a county.
Right, but
No,
you-
actually, what happens is we're the overseers of it. The county tells us, but we're the ones that have to enforce it. So, yeah, Jerry should have proceeded with that instead of shut it down, because that was just one other item that you would have had.
I mean, we're close.
But
we're within
Mr.
a week.
Weedman should explain
What that
all
tells us is, because of the neighbors that are gonna be around, what type of system you have. Do you have enough room for a lagoon system, or are you gonna have to go to an aeration system? And the DNR is gonna be part of that. I mean, this is just not only what we've done here, I know you're frustrated, I would be too. I'd be mad as hell. But the DNR is gonna require us to have certain things done, since we have to sign off on it. If something happens, and it's wrong, it falls back on Garden City. So, there's some things that have to be done right, and I'm just gonna lay it out to you honestly. I had this conversation 4 times with Mr. McCullough yesterday. Twice I had some nice language presented to me, and I told him explicitly, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Don't draw it out on a paper. You're gonna have to run over to Sam Styrine's office, have him draw you a plot plan, pay the fee for it, and bring it back legally to us. And there are maybe some things that I know the attorney probably won't agree with, but there are some things we can put off to be done at a later date, but it has to be done. Jerry can't, he can't come back in and say, oh, I'm not gonna, we tell you we need it later, we need it.
I think you could be the one you're encouraging, because I've done all the
We
encouraging.
I'll just do it, Harry's gonna do it myself.
Okay,
Well, there's a checklist, but I'll explain that. You're gonna have to get a lot from him. And he has told us, I've got it all. Now, when he filled out the last one that I received today, I believe it was the last one,
This morning.
this morning. The last one he filled out, every other thing on the checklist was city has, city has, city has, city has. That's what he wrote on it. And we had told him, not gonna accept that. It's not for us to provide for you. Again, I will be the liaison between you, and I'll let him explain more. He told me I had the survey, and so I asked if the survey on the Mylar was the true survey, and I understood it's not a survey. He kept saying, you have it, why are you asking me for it? But I
have
can
not seen
explain
a
it.
survey. I have seen
A Mylar with the description.
a plat.
I mean, it's been surveyed because I bought the lots and it had a
It
legal
would be very
description.
simple to have the surveyor.
That's
issue
what we
this.
kept
You need a
saying.
legal description, I have a legal
No, no,
description
no,
of
no.
both.
No, that's checklist, I'll show you.
It would be nice if the application described the lots upon which the buildings are being erected.
We did hand draw one, I was part of that, but it did, we got the measurements, that is correct.
Are you building, are you building on the building that's went up now, never mind, I can ask.
Yes, it's on 2 lots.
Yeah, yeah.
I suggest that we move on,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
We've got to, but this is to protect you guys. If you ever sell this house and you have a buyer to go for financing, and they get into this, they'll never loan money on that house. And if the streets are not done right, and you find out that there isn't really a cul-de-sac, but just a street that's going in, and that's what McCullough told me personally today, you're right there sitting on those 2 lots by that cul-de-sac. And the cul-de-sac is not even built or designed to standard. And, so, I mean, we're trying to help you guys.
okay, thank you very much, Mr. Weedman, and thank you. We will, Mr. sorry, Walden, I don't even know what my name is right now. Mr. and Mrs. Waldron will, you'll, is that right? Is that, Waldron, is that what I said? Yeah, that's what I thought I said.
You can call me Jerry.
Let's call him Jerry. Jerry, okay, I've heard that a lot tonight, okay. So, if you'll just come in and get with Bonnie. Okay, we are going to have, now go to comments from residents, and Connie Poisal, if you'd like to come.
Good evening, my name is Connie Poisal, C-O-N-N-I-E, Poisal, P-O-I-S-A-L. I reside at 45 County Road F, F as in Fox, in Gardenston, Missouri. I am under a time constraint of 3 minutes, so I have a series of questions that I'm going to share with the council all at once, because you can respond to those without being under a time constraint as I am. My first question was, why was the public comment section placed at the end of the agenda? That was addressed by the mayor, so I'm amending that question to be, does the rest of the council agree with that it should be kept at the end to show courtesy to those visitors that are here? There's also something to be said about showing courtesy to the citizens and allowing them to speak earlier before action is taken by the council, so that they can speak before the full council and share their comments regarding whether they support something or they don't support something. The next question would be, why was the new procedure regarding public comments that was implemented tonight, why does that appear to have not had prior board consultation and or approval? What is the city business, what is the definition of city business as it is referred to under the new comments procedure? Why was the April 4th meeting canceled after originally being rescheduled? And why has there not been a published resolution to what may be claims for excessive comp time? And then the last question would be regarding the rescinding of ordinance 2014-637. I realize that the city only has to meet the minimum requirements of the law. However, I would like to think that the council goes above and beyond just minimum requirements. I'm sure in your professional life you all go above and beyond just minimum requirements for the clients that you might have. And as far as the advice of the Missouri Municipal League, they represent cities, not citizens, and their job appears to be often to describe how cities can offer the minimum without getting into arrears with the law. So those are my questions that I submit to the full council tonight for their consideration and their response.
Well, thank you, and we will take your questions under consideration.
So may I ask what would be the timeline for a response on that, and will it be verbally at an open session of the council meeting, or will it be in writing form that will be submitted to me or mailed to me, or I pick up at City Hall or whatever?
You and I can talk.
Well, I would prefer to talk, and I appreciate your
I know.
offer. I appreciate your offer. But as a citizen, I am going to insist that I address my full council once a month. I don't think that's too much to ask, and that I get a response from them regarding those questions. But am I to understand that your response is, you and I could talk, or you will all, or you will all consider your responses, and I will get those responses perhaps, maybe, in some form, maybe not written, maybe not spoken, maybe next month, or not. Is that correct?
I just want to thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you for allowing me to do so. Good evening.
Okay. Now, I'm going to make a motion to go, no? Oh, I want to ask for a motion to go into closed session pursuant to RSMO 610-021.